James Gleick, the author of the brilliant new book, The Information. James, you say in your book that we are information. You also say that the universe is information. Doesn't that mean that everything is information?
Yes, and it sounds beyond grand. It sounds a little grandiose, I have to admit, when you put it that way. But first of all, we are literally made of information. One of the things that happened in the early days of excitement over information theory was that molecular biologists were finally figuring out what DNA is. And they discovered a particular chemical thing. And we all know about the double helix. We have a picture in our head of what that molecule looks like. But what's less obvious and more important is that they were solving an information problem. And it is not an accident that we speak of the genetic code. It's not an accident, and it's not a metaphor. Literally, genes are a code. They are an alphabet. They read in and read out information that enables the creation of an organism. So everything about us is information. We are information critters. The universe, too, physicists more and more believe is fundamentally about information. Not that they've given up talking about matter and energy, but matter and energy, I say that quickly, run together because they're the same thing, are nothing without information about where they are and how they are. So you start to hear quantum information scientists these days talk about the bit as being the fundamental particle of which the universe is made.
So what isn't information?
Well, nothing isn't. There's no area of human life that isn't touched on by the ideas I was trying to explore in the book. I was trying to figure out how to write about money, because we know that money is not just a material thing. It's information about who owns what. And that's why in our time it's almost entirely digitized. The coins and bills, the gritty currency that we carry around in our pockets are less and less relevant. And we're less and less interested in putting our hands on, well, I shouldn't say that. Some of us still like to put our hands on them, but we interact with physical money much less and digital money much more. We have cards, we have invisible radio transmitters that help our cars get through toll booths, and we barely remember the time when we had to throw objects into baskets to get through a toll booth. Money is all about information. There's hardly any area of human life that isn't touched on by this subject.
Why has it taken us so long to understand this?
In a way, back to the beginning of my book, we needed a scientific paradigm. That's what Claude Shannon provided. He didn't have anything as grandiose in mind as the things I've been talking about. He was trying to solve engineering problems. He wasn't, in fact, in the early days of information theory, he was very uncomfortable about what a fad it became, and people were parodying some of the subjects that information theory was touching on. There was a fake paper on information theory in photosynthesis and religion. Nevertheless, once we were able to think about information as a thing that you could hold in your hands, so to speak, we were able to understand so much more about the world. We're able to look back now and see that, for example, whereas it's obvious to us that the computer is an information technology, the internet is an information technology, a mobile phone is a technology of information, so was the telegraph, so was the printing press, and before that, even the invention of the alphabet is the invention of an information technology. We can see that now with absolute clarity, but that wasn't obvious to people 50 years ago, that those things were members of a single species.